There is a silence that screams louder than any argument you have ever had. You know this silence. It lives in the hollow space between your text messages, in the cold distance of their eyes when they look at you but do not see you, in the heavy, suffocating weight of a door closing softly while your heart hammers against your ribs like a trapped bird. You are waiting. You are always waiting. Waiting for them to come back, to explain, to choose you, to prove that the intimacy you shared was real and not just a hallucination born of your own desperate need to be loved. But they are gone. Not physically, perhaps, but emotionally they have retreated into a fortress so high and so thick that you can no longer scale the walls. You feel small. You feel confused. You feel like you are losing your mind, questioning every word you said, every touch you gave, wondering what you did wrong to make someone who claimed to care about you turn into a stranger overnight. This pain is not accidental. It is engineered. And the brutal truth, the one that cuts through the fog of your anxiety like a shard of glass, is that your pursuit is the very fuel that keeps their distance alive. Every time you chase, you confirm their deepest fear, that love is a trap, that intimacy is a demand, that you are too much, too heavy, too needy. You think you are fighting for the relationship. You think you are showing them how much you care. But to an avoidant attachment style, your care looks like consumption. Your love looks like a threat to their autonomy. And so, they run. Not because they do not feel, but because they feel too much, and they have no tools to process it other than shutdown. They deactivate. They numb. They erase you from their immediate emotional landscape to survive the overwhelm. Let us look beneath the surface, into the dark, wet machinery of the brain. When you push for closeness, when you demand answers, when you seek reassurance, you are triggering their amygdala, the ancient alarm system of the brain. For the securely attached, this alarm is quiet. For the avoidant, it is screaming. Their nervous system perceives your emotional needs as a danger signal. Cortisol floods their bloodstream, their heart rate spikes, their body prepares for flight. This is not a conscious choice, it is a biological imperative. They are not thinking, "I don't love them." They are feeling, "I am being swallowed." And in that moment of physiological panic, the only way to regulate their nervous system, the only way to lower the cortisol and return to a state of safety, is to detach, to pull away, to create distance. The dopamine hit they get from independence, from self-reliance, from the cool, clean air of solitude, becomes their drug. And you? You become the withdrawal symptom they must escape. But here is the shift. Here is the secret that changes everything. They did not stop caring because you were unworthy. They pulled away because they were overwhelmed. There is a profound difference. One is a judgment of your value, the other is a limitation of their capacity. When you understand this, you stop taking their retreat as a personal insult and start seeing it for what it is. A malfunction in their ability to handle connection. And this realization gives you power. Not the power to fix them, but the power to stop playing their game. Because as long as you are chasing, you are validating their narrative that you are the pursuer and they are the prize. As long as you are anxious, they remain avoidant. The dynamic is locked. The dance is rigid. You step forward, they step back. You lean in, they lean out. It is a perpetual motion machine of misery. So, what happens when you stop? What happens when you break the circuit? This is where the psychology turns poetic, where the science of behavior meets the art of human desire. The core concept you must embody is not indifference. Indifference is fake. Indifference is a mask for hurt. The concept is non-reactivity. It is the profound, unshakable calm of knowing your own worth so deeply that another person's inability to meet you does not diminish it. It is the silence that is not empty, but full. Full of your own life, your own purpose, your own peace. When you stop reacting to their withdrawal with panic, you remove the oxygen from their fire. You stop feeding the dynamic. And in that vacuum, something strange begins to happen. Imagine the scene. You send a message. It is simple, light, devoid of need. They do not reply for 2 days. In the past, your phone would have become a weapon in your hand. You would have checked it every 30 seconds. You would have drafted 3 different follow-up texts, each more desperate than the last. You would have spiraled into a narrative of rejection. But now, you put the phone down. You go for a walk. You feel the sun on your skin. You breathe. You notice that the world has not ended. You notice that you are still whole. 2 days pass. Then 3. Your nervous system, once hijacked by anxiety, begins to regulate. Your cortisol levels drop. Your prefrontal cortex, the center of logic and reason, comes back online. You are no longer in survival mode. You are in creation mode. Meanwhile, on the other side of that silence, a different process is unfolding. The avoidant partner expects the chase. They are braced for it. They have built up their defenses, ready to deflect your demands, ready to justify their distance. But the blow never comes. The pressure never arrives. And in the absence of your pursuit, their defense mechanisms begin to misfire. Without the external threat of your neediness, they are left alone with their own internal landscape. And for the avoidant, solitude is a double-edged sword. Initially, it feels like freedom, but as the days stretch into weeks, the silence begins to echo. The dopamine hit of independence starts to fade, replaced by a creeping sense of curiosity. Why aren't they chasing? Did I lose them? Did they not care? This is the pivot point. This is where the power dynamic begins to flip. Human psychology is wired for loss aversion. We value what we might lose more than what we already have. When you were chasing, you were a given. You were a constant. You were safe. And safety for the avoidant is boring. It is suffocating. But when you withdraw your energy, when you become unpredictable, when you become a mystery again, you trigger their curiosity. You become scarce. And scarcity creates value. Their brain, starved of the validation they took for granted, begins to scan for you. They start to remember the good moments, the laughter, the intimacy, the connection. The cortisol of fear is replaced by the dopamine of anticipation. They start to wonder. They start to miss. They will not tell you this. They will not admit it. Their ego is too fragile, too protected by layers of rationalization. They will tell themselves they are fine. They will tell themselves they are busy. But their actions will betray them. A like on social media, a vague, low-effort text, a thinking of you meme. These are not grand gestures. They are probes. They are testing the waters to see if you are still there, still waiting, still available to soothe their ego without demanding anything in return. This is the trap. If you respond with enthusiasm, if you jump at the crumb they have thrown, you reset the cycle. You teach them that they can disappear and reappear at will, and you will still be there, tail wagging, ready to serve. You reinforce their belief that they hold all the power. But if you remain non-reactive, if you respond with warmth but without urgency, if you match their energy rather than exceeding it, you disrupt their expectation. You show them that you are not a backup plan. You are not a safety net.
You are a person with a life, with standards, with boundaries, and this terrifies them. Not because you are cruel, but because you are real. You are no longer a projection of their fears or their desires. You are an autonomous entity. And for someone who fears engulfment, autonomy is attractive. It is safe. It is intriguing. They begin to realize that to have you, they must earn you. They must step up. They must regulate their own nervous system and meet you in the middle. This is the moment they begin to fall. Not because you manipulated them, but because you stopped manipulating yourself. You stopped betraying your own dignity for the sake of their comfort. You stopped shrinking to fit into the small spaces they allowed you. You expanded. You grew. And in growing, you became too large to ignore. They start to chase. Not the frantic, panicked chase of the anxious attacher, but the slow, deliberate approach of someone who realizes they have made a mistake. They start to obsess. They check your profile. They ask mutual friends about you. They replay conversations in their head, looking for clues, for signs that you have moved on. The fear of loss becomes palpable. The avoidant wall begins to crack, not because you battered it down, but because you stopped leaning on it. But beware. This is the most dangerous part of the journey. As they begin to return, as they begin to show interest, your old wounds will scream for attention. Your anxious attachment will wake up, hungry for the validation you have been denied. You will want to punish them. You will want to demand explanations. You will want to secure a promise that they will never leave again. Do not do this. If you break your non-reactivity now, if you explode with pent-up anger or cling with desperate need, you will scare them off again. You will confirm their fear that intimacy is chaotic and dangerous. You must hold the line. You must remain the calm center of the storm. This requires a level of self-discipline that feels almost inhuman. It requires you to sit with the discomfort of uncertainty. It requires you to trust that your worth is not determined by their presence or absence. It requires you to believe, truly believe, that you are enough, with or without them. This is not a tactic. This is a transformation. You are not doing this to get them back. You are doing this to get yourself back. And paradoxically, it is only when you no longer need them that they can truly want you. It is only when you are willing to walk away that they can choose to stay. The warning is clear. Do not mistake their return for change. Avoidant attachment is a deep-seated pattern, woven into the fabric of their nervous system over decades. A few weeks of missing you does not rewrite their history. It does not heal their trauma. If you take them back without clear boundaries, without a commitment to growth, without a willingness to do the hard work of therapy and self-reflection, you will end up exactly where you started. The cycle will repeat. The silence will return. The pain will deepen. You must be willing to let them go, even as they come back. You must be willing to say, "I love you, but I will not accept less than consistency. I will not accept breadcrumbs. I will not accept silence as a language." This is the ultimate test of your self-worth. Can you love someone and still choose yourself? Can you hold space for their healing without sacrificing your own peace? This is the path of the empowered partner. It is not easy. It is not quick. It is a daily practice of choosing dignity over desperation.
It is a daily reminder that you are not responsible for regulating someone else's emotions. You are only responsible for your own. As you stand in this new power, you will feel a shift within you. The anxiety that once defined your relationships will begin to dissolve. The constant scanning for threats will quiet down. You will find that you are no longer afraid of silence. You are no longer afraid of being alone. You have discovered that solitude is not loneliness, it is sovereignty. You have discovered that your value is intrinsic, not contingent. You are not a half seeking a whole. You are a whole seeking another whole. And if they cannot meet you there, if they cannot rise to the level of your self-respect, then they are not your partner. They are your lesson. And perhaps that is the greatest transformation of all. You stop seeing them as the source of your happiness or your pain. You see them as a mirror. They reflected your insecurities, yes, but they also reflected your strength. They showed you what you were willing to tolerate, and they showed you what you are capable of becoming. When you look at them now, you do not see a god or a monster. You see a human being, flawed and fearful, struggling with their own demons. You feel compassion, but not pity. You feel love, but not dependency. You feel free. This freedom is intoxicating. It is the air you have been gasping for. It is the light that breaks through the clouds. And when you live from this place, when you operate from this depth of self-assurance, you become magnetic. Not just to them, but to everyone. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin. They are drawn to those who do not need them to complete them. You become a beacon of stability in a chaotic world. And if the avoidant partner returns, it will not be because you tricked them. It will be because they finally felt safe enough to come close, safe enough to be vulnerable, safe enough to love without fear. But even if they do not return, you have won. You have reclaimed your life. You have rewritten your story. You are no longer the victim of their avoidance. You are the author of your own destiny. You have learned that the only love that matters is the love you give to yourself. Everything else is just a reflection. So let them fall. Let them stumble. Let them realize what they lost. But do not wait for them. Do not watch them. Keep walking. Keep growing. Keep shining. Your power is not in their return. Your power is in your departure from the old self. Your power is in the silence that is no longer empty, but full of you. Feel that weight lifting off your shoulders. Feel the tension leaving your jaw, your hands, your chest. Breathe into that space. That space is yours. It has always been yours. You just forgot to claim it. Now you remember. Now you know. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not unlovable. You are simply learning how to love yourself first. And in that learning, you become unstoppable. The avoidant partner may fall, yes. They may become obsessed. They may chase. But you are already flying. You are already free. And that is the only victory that lasts. Let this truth settle into your bones. Let it rewrite your neural pathways. Every time you feel the urge to chase, pause. Breathe. Remember who you are. Remember that you are the prize. Remember that your silence is not a punishment, but a boundary. Your distance is not a game, but a standard. Hold it. Hold it with grace. Hold it with power. And watch how the world rearranges itself around your newfound gravity. You are not waiting for permission to be happy. You are taking it. You are not asking for love. You are embodying it. And in that embodiment, you become irresistible. Not because you are trying to be, but because you are finally, fully, authentically you. This is your time. This is your power. Take it.